The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to the raw and uncensored Ambitchious podcast. I'm your host, the original HBIC, Katie Boyd. During our time here together, I will be instilling all of the strength, power, and determination you will need to use the very stones thrown at you to build your ultimate empire. We will redefine the word bitch from the derogatory to the acronym being in total control of herself. So let's adjust our crowns and prepare to live life ambitiously. Yeah, here I am, the original HBIC, Katie motherfucking Boyd. And over here is Big Tits McGee, my motorboating partner, Matthew Babine.
You can motorboat me anytime you want, my love.
Look at the rack on you.
Yes, very strong.
Jesus, your milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. Lordy. Today's podcast is all about never giving up. Because let me tell you something. The last couple months of my life have been a roller coaster. And there has been days.
I don't know how you did not give up.
No, there has been days where I'm like.
It could have happened very easily.
Not today, Satan. Not today. Right? But I just keep persevering. What kind of sick fuck am I that I just keep going like this?
Well, you know how to get things done. Move the needle. That's for sure.
Oh my God, I'm going to move your needle. But before we start the podcast, I always love to give a huge shout out to Ayana, owner of Prana Hair, Skin, and Lash.com. Reach out to her, tell her this HBIC sent you, and you will get $50 off your first full set of lashes.
Nice, very nice.
Thank God for her. Because I would look like Dr. Evil's cat if it wasn't for her.
I don't think so, but she definitely knows how to hook you up.
She does. She does. We love you, Ayana.
We do.
So never giving up. I know that the Ambitchious is all about, persevering and determination and being the HBIC of your magical life and all that good stuff. But let me tell you something. Lately, I have been like a raped ape.
You think?
Yes.
You almost killed me on the way over here today.
I scratched the fuck out of Matt this morning in the back. I know, please. This is
not really, but it was kind of
one good scratch, like a cat.
I thought it was you were trying to get you to stay home, but
what do you stay home from? What?
To stay not doing scratch me and get me all excited.
No, it was not anything pornographic like that. You were mouthing off to me. Let's tell the story. This morning, what happened was we were both going to do something before we came to the podcast. Yes. That was very important.
Yes.
And I don't like to get up in the morning rushed. I like to get up. I like to do my rituals. As you guys know, that's my thing. I like to have my coffee. I like to listen to nice music. I like to journal. But I haven't slept the last couple days.
Yes.
I've just been kind of like in a disarray because, my book is coming out and I have a lot of deadlines to meet and just things are like in flux right now. So I woke up this morning. Matt set the alarm last night, didn't tell me. I leapt out of bed like a cat on a hot tin
Pearl
roof.
jumped out. Boston Terrier Pearl jumped out of the bed too. I heard it and I went over to go shut the alarm off. Usually we wake up,
No, we don't wake up to an alarm.
Not to an alarm. We usually just wake up on our own.
Yes.
But I knew we had to be there this morning to take care of this business thing, and we had to get it done. And it was time sensitive. And I get there and I set the alarm and I was like, I don't like this alarm either. I usually wake up on my own. She wakes up on her own.
Yeah.
And Pearl usually was like, what the hell was that? She was just like almost like a cat. She was a Boston Terrier.
No, both of us jumped up out of bed.
And that started that morning. So that was kind of crazy. And then all of a sudden I heard something that you were listening to.
I was listening to a podcast while I was getting ready.
And I'm like, why is she listening to this? This is like too abrasive. And I'm like trying to have my coffee and whatever the case may be. And too abrasive. I like to hear nice music in the morning.
Wait, let me tell the right story. Let's tell the truth.
Get going.
Matt was like washing his face and getting ready to like shave and stuff. And I was listening to a podcast because we have like the double sinks in our master bath. And I'm just like putting on my makeup. And he looks at me. He's like, this woman's voice is like nails on a chalkboard. I'm like, okay. He's like, what are you doing listening to a business podcast at like the butt crack of dawn? I was like, I don't know. I'm just trying to learn some things while I'm doing other things.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to learn anything. I just want to have my coffee.
So then I just looked at him.
Learn how to not cut my face while I'm shaving.
Okay. Well, I cut you because he was mouthing off to me. And I don't know why, but my hand just darted across the bathroom and I just scratched him. And I had no remorse.
Yeah. Well, it didn't hurt or anything, but it was shocking.
Yeah.
It was shocking.
You were like, you scratched me. Yeah. I'm like, I did. And there's more where that came from if you don't pipe down.
And I piped down.
But then we ended up fighting the whole entire way
to the meeting.
To go to the meeting. And then he looks at me before the meeting. He goes, okay, we're not fighting anymore. We can fight more when we get back in the car after we do what we're doing. I'm like, okay, fine. And I was like...
And then we didn't fight anymore after that. I think we said 2 more things.
No, we got back in the car. We kind of rumbled a little
feisty,
bit.
But it was over. It was done, right? So it's over now. So
so the moral of the story is, because you're not following, obviously, the bouncing ball here,
keep your hands up while you're shaving.
No, that's not.
Break the freaking phone that she's listening to a podcast on in the first thing in the morning. Way too abrasive.
Whatever.
And don't set an alarm. Get up, I don't know how to get up.
No, but we're talking about never giving up. Do I really have to bring you back to the subject? No, I know
what we're talking about. Never give up on my spiritual practices in the morning of peace and effing quiet.
Oh,
that's my never giving up.
Oh, so I can feel a spiritual enema coming on today. I can feel that. But no, seriously though, like the last couple months have been freaking hard. Like everyone's like, oh my God, 2020 is going to be like the best year ever, which I do think it is going to turn up that way.
Yes.
But the last couple months have been such a test. And I always tell, my girls that I coach from all over the world, this old saying, it says, the cockpit of the fighter jet always shakes and rattles the most right before it breaks the sound barrier, right? So for me, even though I know that this is the truth, I am not a superhuman.
Right.
I am a human being, not a human doing. And a lot of the things that I've been going through have been self-inflicted. And Matt was screaming at me in the car today because he was like, all of this that you're complaining about is your own doing. And I'm like, I know, but I have all these deadlines and I have to push these things through. And he was like, what did you just say? And I'm like, I have to push these things through. And he's like, Katie, you would tell all of your girls, you don't push things. You go with the flow. You trust the universe has your back. Do you really believe... And this is what you said to me. Do you really believe the shit that you're saying to your people that you're coaching?
Right.
And I do.
Yes.
But I also am not perfect and I fall back into old patterns.
And I fall back into old patterns too. And I think the non-giving up is to really realize and say, hey, I need to be able to take time for myself and maybe spread some of these things out because you own your own company.
Right.
So you're the one who's in charge of when things go.
Yes.
And there are some deadlines that you put on yourself because the goals that you have, it's not really a goal unless you have some kind of
were you just talking about this on Sensei Sunday this week?
Yes, a time limit. You have to have a time limit, but you can't beat yourself up over it, especially when it's the other one that owns the goddamn company.
I know.
About your own time limit.
But it's hard because I fall back into like the old patterns of Katie Boyd 2004.
Yeah, I do too. And we fall back, right? But the thing is to never give it up. Sometimes you have to get to the breaking point. Like we got to the breaking point this morning where it caused so much disruption where it's like, wait a second.
We almost had a brawl.
Let's take this. We'll have to talk about our new brawls, 2020 brawls.
Oh yeah.
But we had that had to come up. So anytime there's pain or discomfort, something is out of line. Something's out of whack.
Yes.
So you're not living the way you should be living. And I'm not saying you. I'm saying
in
general.
Yes.
Yeah, in general. And me too. And I get out of it too. And you just really have to not give up on your true values. And the true values are peace, harmony, being the best person you can be, and having rules to start your day. And today we both defied them.
Yes.
And Pearl didn't even like it.
No. And also living by your core desired feelings, right?
Yes.
Because for me, my core desired feeling is freedom.
Yes.
And I looked at the first 6 months of 2020, in December, and I was like, what the actual fuck was I smoking when I did all these things?
But you also canceled a lot out.
I know, but it's still a lot.
It's still a lot, but you canceled a lot out. And the things that you did decide that you wanted to do, the things that you desired are going to happen. And it's more of a flow. I mean, I think you're just coming off of the 3 weeks of just push. And you didn't give up. And maybe you should have given up on the way you were doing things. Not giving up on the thing, but giving up on the way you were doing it.
I know.
I'm just saying. I told you.
Oh my God, fuck you. Seriously? Okay. Does anybody else out there in Ambitchious land, their husbands or significant others, will say something and then at the end they'll always say I told you.
That's my thing.
Oh my God, nothing gets my butthole hairs more in a freaking braid than that shit.
I don't like saying I told you anymore, but sometimes
it's so annoying.
Sometimes funny though, I'll go, I'll say something like,
if you guys could see my face right now at home, the people that are listening to it.
I told you. I told you.
It's so annoying, Matt.
Sorry.
It's not nice.
All right.
And it makes me more angry.
All right.
So see, guys, everybody comes to me and like, they email me all the time, like, you and Matt have the best, most perfect relationship. It's so beautiful. And it's easy for you to talk about the things you talk about because you have a supportive, loving relationship with your husband. And I'm like, no, that's true. I do.
But sometimes I tell you, I told you.
Sometimes I scratch you in the bathroom in the morning while we're getting ready for, a day of shit to do.
It's got to come out somewhere, right? So,
well, I just want to say that for me, like the giving up part is not an option, nor will it ever be.
Right.
But I think a lot of people right now, and the collective consciousness of our universe right now is a lot of fear, and is a lot of just very like frenetic energy, and people are just lost and they don't know what to do, and they're scared and they're confused.
And actually, it flows over to us too, because the whole world is right now kind of really high tense right now, right? So that's an energy.
Right.
So it's going to spill over to, everyone who's listening and us. Mm-hmm. So if you're feeling a wacky, don't stop doing.
You're feeling a wacky.
Don't give.
What is that?
If you're
feeling a wacky?
If you feel,
is this like wacky. An old like jerk off? Like what did you used to call?
If you're feeling like
if you're feeling a wacky,
if you need to do a wacky,
take it out and schmacky. I mean, what are you talking about?
Whack them off.
When you're feeling wacky, yes.
Yes, when you're feeling wacky,
I'm gonna whack you today.
Don't give up on your goals. Don't give up on your dreams. Keep pushing your things through, but do it with, ease, not shoving it through.
But it's hard to do it with ease and not shove things through.
Sometimes it is.
You know how many people out there right now that are listening to this podcast from all over the world are like in that same mindset as I have been the last 3 weeks, was like, absolutely. I just gotta drive it through. I just have to put 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. Right?
Yeah, a lot of people are, but something, it's we know better.
So what is your best advice for these people like moi?
Yeah.
That are having this struggle right now where they're just like, fuck it, I'm just giving up. What is the sense of this?
Don't give up. Step
Jesus,
back.
That's prolific.
Step back. Observe what you're doing. Observe the feelings. Think with your heart and your feelings, not your brain. Because if something feels abrasive and you're still pushing that same thing through, maybe you changed. Maybe that's not the right course for you anymore. Maybe you needed to come at it from a different angle. Maybe you need assistance, right? But you don't have to give up on your dream. But sometimes you need to pull back and look and say, hey, what do I need to do to make this happen the way I want it to happen? Mm-hmm. What do I do? What do I need to do? Who do I need to ask for help, right? Because sometimes you're going to need help. Like Tiger Woods, right? He was the best golfer. This is before he had his massive comeback. He was not hitting the ball well. He had a coach. His coach changed everything about his swing.
Yes.
He knew he was going to go backwards for probably 6 months, a year, 2 years. But if he wanted to go forward, he had to take the time for that time to get that new swing the way he wanted. The rest is history. He won. He's like going to go down in history as probably the greatest golfer in the world. But for those 2 years, he's washed up. He's not doing well. He's got this new coach. He's stuck with the formula, and he knew to be better, sometimes you have to go backwards.
Do you think that we as humans think that we can do way more in a small amount of time? Do you think that's one of my problems?
Yeah, I think
we're actually turning this podcast into counseling Katie Boyd session.
I actually think it's probably 99% of people's problem is they try to push too much, especially overachievers like you, the type A personality.
Yes.
It's like, I have to do all these things. And to do things, sometimes you can actually do less. You actually think more and actually think about the best strategy opposed to ramming things through or trying, because I know your heart intention is to reach as many people as you can, help. You're a server. You're a huge servant to the universe. And all you want is the best outcome for everybody that you come in contact with. But the way that you can do it better,
yes.
I think the way I can do it better, and most people, is really step back, look at it. And if you feel abrasive and something that you feel is not right, then you're not in line. You're not in line with what you're supposed to be doing the way you're supposed to be doing.
So would the advice that you would give, not only to me, but the people out there that feel the same way, would be like, stop
and step back. Sometimes no action is sometimes the best action. See what's going on. Watch, think, look, observe, and then come up with a strategy.
But it's so hard for people like me to do that because I'm like, oh my God, I'm losing a day of my life that I could be doing so many things.
The day that you spend looking and observing and thinking will probably save you 2 months.
This is why my husband smokes 32 cigars a day. So he every fucking like I will be like downstairs in my office like doing all these like strategy sessions with like my assistant and like this person, that person, whatever. No. And Matt's like, so if you don't need me for anything, I'm just going to go outside and smoke a cigar. And I was like, bro, you didn't even ask me if I needed anything. He just assumes like, so since you don't need anything from me, I'm like, someone is going to go see Jesus today.
But I'll tell you, I go outside, I call it Wim Hof smoking cigars because it was
Tell them who Wim Hof is.
Well, Wim Hof is this guy that can go into like double, below 30-degree water and swim under ice.
He climbed Mount Everest with just sneakers and shorts.
Sneakers and shorts. And he's like, he's into breath work, and he's this guru when it comes to anything to do with, cold or any kind of discomfort.
Yes.
And
they even were like injecting like all these like viruses into him, and with his mind and his breathing, he actually never got sick from any of it.
Never got sick from any of it. And he was just like amazing individual. Well, my Wim Hof is when I go outside and it's like 27, because I won't smoke a cigar in the house. So I'll go outside and it's 27 and I'll be out there having a cigar. Now, and if it's an hour cigar, I'll be out there for an hour, but I'll put something on to listen, either somebody that I can learn something from or whatever the case may be. And I'll just
mostly Earl Nightingale or Stuart Wilde.
The old school people, because nothing's changed, right?
No,
nothing's really
hasn't.
changed. It's just history repeats itself.
It hasn't changed. It's like stoicism, for Christ's sakes, Matt.
It's just different devices. So it's not the newspaper. Now it's an iPhone, or if it's the internet, opposed to, a pigeon. A carrier pigeon, bringing the
I miss those.
Bringing the message.
Very Game of Thrones, Matt.
But it's
Very
all
Game
the
of Thrones.
same shit, right? Somebody's trying to do something. Somebody's trying to move something forward. Somebody's trying to grow a business.
Right.
Someone's trying to destroy your business. Whatever the case may be, nothing's really changed. And I'll go out there and think, and I'll come out and I'll talk to ideas to Katie, and I'll be like, oh, I think I found a solution to this problem that was really bothering me. And she's like, what the hell? Isn't it nice that you have all this time to think? And I said, well, isn't that we're thinking people, right? I mean, we're not like, we're not bricklaying right now.
Right.
And even before you lay a brick, you have to think of a friggin' pattern.
Matt only lays brick in the morning when he gets up. That's the only bricks he's ever laid.
Brick, yeah.
Can't even fucking change a light bulb in my house.
I will fix that light bulb
Thank
today.
you.
It's kind of high up there. I don't want to end up at the.
I'm like, is the insurance up to date while he climbs up that 30-foot ladder to change that one light bulb in my chandelier that's pissing me off?
She's there underneath the ladder. I'll hold it for you. I'll hold it. So this is going out. This is going out the airways right now. So if I fall and break my neck,
Christ Almighty,
you know what happened.
Don't even say that.
No, I'm saying you're going to be trying to kill me.
Well,
It won't be a slip and fall.
God help me.
It would be a Law and Order episode.
So what Matt is saying is, all you women out there, pick up a cigar habit and just go outside and freeze your tits off and just smoke your brains out and think.
Yeah, sometimes you have to do that.
Not cigar smoking, but sometimes it's like I like to just like get in my car and like just drive around sometimes.
Maybe Winston Churchill had something. He was a great thinker, and when he had a cigar, he would go outside. I don't know if he was Wim Hof smoking.
I don't think he was anywhere near Wim Hof. No,
I don't know if he was Wim Hof smoking, but he was smoking somewhere, and he'd come up with all these solutions.
Yeah, that's very true.
Nicotine must hit your brain or something and start sparking things.
Well, I think it's also the slowness of smoking a cigar, or the slowness of like when I get in a car, I can't pick up my phone. Right. So I'm not in stimulus response mode. Right. I can't be on the laptop, so I'm not in stimulus response mode. So when I drive, I get the best ideas. Or obviously when I meditate and stuff like that, I also get great ideas. But even like lately, the things that I tell all of my girls out there in Ambitchious land to do, like I'm not even doing my shit.
And that happens.
And now that's why I'm turning into a psychopath.
And it happens to the best of us. And especially with the collective consciousness of fear or of all these different things that are going on on the earth plane here, there's a lot going on. I mean, whether it's disease, whether it's political, whether it's whatever it is, even if you're not tuned into it, it has a vibration, right? 100%. It has a vibrational frequency. So it does get into you. And, even if you hear little things on the side, right? Things get into you. And it's your job is to say, hey, whatever's going on, I need to set myself up for success. And my biggest thing is if I don't take the time to meditate, take care of myself, eat the right foods, high vibrational foods, fill myself up first, then I start getting in stimulus response as well. And I think it's everyone. And, the good thing about our relationship, there's a lot of bad. No, just kidding. But the good stuff the good stuff about our relationship is that we do keep each other accountable. And, you'll tell me, hey, babe, this isn't working for you. This sucks. I need help, or whatever the case may be. And vice versa. I'll say, I told you.
I know.
I told you.
I know the famous last words.
But I tell you it in a sweet way, not like I told you.
Now it's funny because it pisses me off, and I just give you the look.
I told you. Now let's get working on it together, and let's get back on track. And you need an accountability partner. I think that's what's great about your Ambitchious 28 program protocol is that you put people together to be keeping each other accountable. Right. Because when it gets hard, that's when you want to quit.
Yes.
Right?
That's why I have my Kim Fox.
Yeah. Oh, Kim Fox rocks.
Kim Fox is my virtual assistant, and me and her have been friends for forever and ever and ever. I actually trained her.
20 years, right?
Like, I don't even know. It's so freaking long. Now. The first time I ever met Kim, I was coaching her at my home for Miss Massachusetts USA, and she threw up in a bag in my hallway.
That sounds like your workout.
This is a true story. Like I worked her so hard that she was like, I think I'm gonna throw up, and she had like a plastic bag in like her hoodie. I don't know. Maybe she heard through the other girls like, Kate, bring a plastic bag because Katie will make you throw up. And I just remember her like sitting against the wall and sliding down the wall of my hallway, and she just took a bag out and she just was like, bleh. So I'll never so I've known her for a million years, and now she's my VA, and she has like totally changed my life.
And that's the reason she's your VA, because you're like, she didn't give up.
Right?
That's who
she didn't. She didn't give up. It's like all these years later, she's still like right by my side. And so I hired her a couple of months ago, and it's totally changed the trajectory of my life and my business, because there's so many things that we do every day that we have to do that we hate. Like there's things that she took over for me that I'm like, oh my God, thank you, sweet baby Jesus.
But she's awesome at it though, right? That's her forte. She knows all this stuff big time. And I think that's what we were talking about. People give up because they think they have to do it all.
Oh my God,
and I think once you start to look at certain things and say, hey, I'm giving this part up and I'll focus on this part, then you have more energy to give to the core stuff that made your company or made you who you are, or whatever the case.
I always say like I'm better off like doubling and tripling down on the things that I'm really great at. And outsourcing the things that other people are great at that I can't really ever get great at, or I don't want to get great at.
I think you can get great at anything, but you just don't want to, because there's other things that you need to focus on that are already challenging. But that's your expertise.
Yes. So the reason why I wanted to do this podcast, and I made it more like of a conversational riff, is because I want you guys to know that even though I am the HBIC, I am your fearless leader, and I love each and every one of you guys, Katie sometimes loses her tits as well.
Yeah, and
like
I do too.
I go back to old patterning, and this was great because you actually told me a lot of great things that are making the wheels in my mind turn today, saying, okay, Katie, you say to meditate every day, but you're not doing what you say to do. Okay, let's go back to that. You say to eat a certain way, but like, it was my birthday a couple weeks ago, and I have been literally on the bender of my fucking double stuffed Oreo lifetime.
Let me tell you, I loved the bender, by the way.
Well, because I never stray from my meal plan, and we went to New York City, and we literally, when I tell you, we went on a food and alcohol crawl. Like I was just like, I was done with one meal, and I was like, okay, where are we going now?
New York.
We're going to Momofuku. We're going to have those like that ramen and those buns. Okay, we ate that. Now we're going to go, over to La Bernardin and have like a 9-course tasting menu with alcohol and all this stuff. And then what happens to me is, and I've talked about this on the podcast, like when I go off my meal plan, it makes my mind crazy, because you don't realize until you've put yourself in that position how much food really controls how your mind works.
I think with carbohydrates really do affect you more.
Carbs make me crazy.
I think they affect everybody, but I think they affect you more. Because
I get like depressed and anxious.
You're so tuned into your body because you've been so, hypersensitive with putting great food in. Even though this stuff tastes great, it does change. It's chemistry, right?
No, 100%.
It's chemistry.
No, totally. So get back to the meditation, get back to the meal plan, outsource things to Kim Fox that I don't want to do, that she can actually do. Like, I'll be like, Kim, can you do this thing for me? And in 3.2 seconds, she's like, done. And I was like, bitch, that would have just taken me 3 hours to do that. How did you just do that? And she's like, I'm just good at that. And I'm like, how much more stuff can we outsource in our lives, right? And then obviously who you're hanging out with.
Yes.
So if you're around a bunch of people that are like, I have people in my life, not really so much anymore, but before, where they would just be like, you're crazy dreaming that big. Like, that's scary, Katie. Like, why do you want to do that? And I'm like, why wouldn't I want to do that? I have this one time on this earth to make this happen. Why wouldn't I want to do it, right? And so you're around like naysayers and fuckfaces, like I call it in the book, Ambitchious.
Stay the hell away from them.
Stay away from those people.
If you don't want to give up, then you have to watch the people that are in your tribe or the people that you're spending time with. And it was funny, I was listening to something while I was Wim Hof smoking.
God.
And it was a guy, I forget who it was, but it was somebody was saying that, when you think you're not on your spiritual
oh my God, I remember
path,
this. Yes.
Right? When everything seems like it's in disarray and everything is crazy. And that's actually when you really are, is because you really stirred the pot and a lot of stuff is coming to the surface. When everything is going beautifully and everything is under control and, I got this and everything, that's not growth.
Yeah.
Growth is when you're going through, when you want to scratch a husband or something. You want to kick him to the curb or whatever the case may be, or throw him off of a ladder while he's changing a light bulb. But those are
stop talking dirty to me.
Those are the times where, that's the time where it's like, hey, something's going on and I just got to sit back.
Well, it's because of the uncomfortableness. When, like I said to Matt, I think last week ago, I was like, I have not felt this uncomfortable being me probably in about 10 years.
It's because you're not you anymore. You've changed so much and for the better, but you're leveling up. Yeah. You're doing different things. You're serving in a larger capacity.
Right. And things that I used to like just allow to happen to me or just like allow period, like are so abrasive to me now that it makes me like angry.
Absolutely. Because it's almost like, why did I put myself in that situation? And I'm going through the same thing. I think both of us are leveling up together, which is a hard kind of a mix. But but
we're like Charlize Theron and Will Smith in that movie where they were angels and they tried to kill each other if they were too close to each other. Do you remember that?
Apart and they were ready to beat
what the hell movie was that?
I don't know. It's called The Babine House.
This summer, coming to theaters near you, The Babine House.
The Babine House is here.
That sounds like a blockbuster.
It is a blockbuster. Massachusetts blockbuster.
Yes. Oh my God.
I'll tell you.
So good advice.
Don't give up, guys. Stay with the program. Get out of there and
talk to me when you say this. Just look into my eyes and tell me. I need a pep talk.
No, you don't need a pep talk. You're fine. You always give me my pep talks.
Yeah, that's why I need a pep talk because I'm always expending my energy on you. You fuck.
Step back. Look at it.
Okay.
And look how you feel.
Yes.
Get out of your head. And stay with your heart.
So what if I feel like drinking a bottle of bourbon every day this week?
Drink it this week and the next week.
Oh my God, no, you're so weak.
Just do it.
You're so fucking weak. I feel like the
Drink
Sith
the
Lord.
bourbon. If you need, why fight it? In other words, if you're doing something.
Because it's called alcoholism, Matt. What do you mean, why fight it?
What I'm saying to you, you're not an alcoholic. So what I'm saying to you is if that's what you feel like doing, do it, get it out of your system, and then pull your shit together again, right? That's what you have. Sometimes you need to be not as rigid as you need to be. You should be.
So you're telling me just to be like you, just to fucking
do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah,
and then go back to it. But I always get my work done.
Matt's middle name is YOLO,
and I always move forward with peace and harmony.
Yes,
with a bourbon and a cigar
and chicken parmesan every day if he could.
Sometimes, not every day.
Oh my God. So listen, guys, I just told y'all that I'm a fuck up too. I just admitted this on the Ambitchious podcast. This podcast is about being strong and powerful and being the HBIC of your life. And I'm telling you, I'm admitting to each and every one of you that sometimes the HBIC can be a poopy pants. But I'm going to clean up my ass and I'm going to get back straight and I'm going to ride that baloney pony into the Ambitchious sunset.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, God. All right. Jesus Christ. Thank you guys for all coming and listening to this bamboozlement and tomfoolery and being crusaders to this Ambitchious podcast. And like I always say, see you next Tuesday.
Good job, man.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.